right from the colonial times.
Yep.
Byfield Depot, which
Yeah.
we covered.
Yeah.
The Falls,
Yeah.
the grist mill, the blacksmith shop,
Yeah.
and Paddy Rock Road.
Paddy Rock Road, yeah.
Yeah.
That was named for Patty Goodrich. She was supposed to have danced on that rock with a basket of eggs on her head according to tradition. And they call that Paddy Rock Road ever since. There's an old cellar over to the right of it that was called the old Goodrich Cellar. And back probably around the turn of the century, all our local yokels used to go up there and fight their game roosters. They had their cockfights in that cellar up there. And their mains.
That isn't where the Goodrich Massacre is it?
No, Goodrich Massacre's up in Georgetown.
That's
It's
right.
beyond Erie Engine House.
Just beyond.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what did Paddy Goodrich do?
Paddy, it was named for Paddy Goodrich, Paddy Rock, Paddy Rock Road.
I see. And
That
what
goes.
did she do? Dance?
Oh, yes, suppose tradition says she's danced on that rock up there with a basket of eggs on her head, and ever since that time they called it Paddy Rock, and that goes from Moody Street right through to Forest Street. Yeah, that is the dividing line between Newbury, Byfield, and West Newbury now. The boundstones are all up in that road there. We traverse that every 5 years and mark them.
Okay, and the next was, what was it, Slab Bars?
Slab bars, that's up on Forest Street. And the wolf pits are up in that area. In the colonial days, they had pits to trap wolves. And the wolf pits are up in that same area there.
Do you know where they are?
No, I don't. I don't know exactly where they are, and I don't know if there's anybody alive today that does know. I know that when it was possible for me to find out that, why I didn't have the interest to do it, and so much of that stuff that you could have got from some of the older people. My grandfather was 95 years old when he died, and he could remember a good many things, and he told me a good many things, but I wasn't as inquisitive as I might have been at a later time, you know, you don't.
That's what we're trying to remedy right here.
There's a time for everything. Here's a little book that came into my possession, and it gives all the names of the Poles, the able-bodied Poles in the Byfield area at the time. And it's quite interesting to see the names. It said the names of able-bodied Poles within the town of Newbury and Byfield Parish.
But these are people, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes. They're all Rogers and Gould.
That was probably about 1830 that those names were classified. And among other things, whoever was an inquisitive person, he could tell how many fruit trees could be planted in an acre, how many corn stalks, and how much. All this stuff is in that book there, and all the cures for stuff, making soap and making everything else is in the recipes. Recipes for various things.
Would it be possible to make a copy of that, perhaps town hall?
Yeah.
That, you know,
Oh, yeah.
Because we
easily made. But those were that list of names were able-bodied Poles that was in Byfield at that time. The name.
Does that mean people?
That gives the name. Yeah, the men. Of course, women didn't vote until late.
And they were ratepayers.
Yeah.
They paid taxes.
Yeah, they were Poles, able-bodied Poles. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's get back to.
Okay, and then we have Hemlock
Bank.
Hemlock Bark.
Hemlock Bank. That's way up the river, way up Parker River, up just this side of Crane Pond. You have to go up. Well, you go up Noyce Road. I think it's called Wells Avenue. No, they name it, and you go up to the end of that and cross the old line. I used to go up there and duck years ago.
There is a Hemlock grave I don't know whether John or
Possibly, yeah.
Dick
That's where
mentioned
Oren,
hemlock
and
for the
Oren
graves.
was always looking for graves up there.
Yeah,
Oren used to go up there.
yeah.
Is that where the, supposedly the Revolutionary War soldiers were buried in that area?
No, I don't think so. I think there was a legend back in those days that there was some man, two men appeared up at the Pearson Tavern with a chest, possibly a sea chest, and that they left and went up the river, supposedly up Hemlock Bankway, and there's only one ever came back, and and he came back without the chest. So whether or not that he buried treasure up there or not, I don't know, but that was a common legend at that time. Yeah. So whether it ever happened or not, I don't know. There's lots of those legends that.
If you go out for Forest Street, Jim.
Yeah.
Is this Hemlock Bank going towards West Newbury on the right or the left?
Hemlock Bank is on the river. It's right on Parker River, up before you get to Crane Pond. And I doubt very much if this shows Crane Pond, because Crane Pond is in Groveland. See, it gets to be in Groveland. Here's where the river winds.
Yes.
See, and it gets up in here, and it gets up in this neck of the woods is where Crane Pond is, and Hemlock Bank would be somewhere about in here, just over the Georgetown line.
Okay.
Oh, then it would be.
If you went up
We need a better
just this
map.
side of Erie, if you go just this side of the Erie Engine House, there's a street that turns right, and that goes up and across the old railroad line. That's where those Mozanowski, or some woman lives up there now. She's an airline hostess, and she has saddle horses.
On the Georgetown line, was it?
And that's the old Al Poor place up
Just
there.
across the
Then you
line.
cross the right-of-way and walk up the driftway up through there. You come out to the river, and it's a bank that had a heavy growth of hemlock on it, but I think that Pepin bought it and cut it all off. The Pepin that's down across from your place.
Yeah.
And he logged all of the hemlock off, the big hemlock. Probably his second growth is coming up now.
He lived up that street.
Yeah, he
quite a
lived
ways,
up. He owned that
He
place
did, yeah.
at that time.
All right, so now we've got the Pearson Tavern, which is okay, and the
Yeah.
Snuff Bill, and then Red Gate Crossing.
Red Gate is down back of McNulty's. That driftway that goes through McNulty's yard.
Barbara McNulty's?
Yeah, Barbara McNulty, and it goes down across. There's a right-of-way that goes down and crosses and comes out in right in Snowden's yard, and out onto the old Downfall Road. Of course, the Downfall's a dead end now, but it used to go right straight through, and that was a right-of-way that went through there for that purpose. And when I was a youngster, Hazen Rogers bought the place where Snowden lives, and he blocked that right-of-way. And Gardner Rogers, whose father had formerly owned that place, drove two horse wagons right straight down through his cornfield and flattened it. And he took him to court, and he lost, because he had no right to block the right-of-way, and Gardner Rogers didn't have any right to leave the right-of-way, so he stuck right on the right-of-way. As long as he did, he was okay.
Is it called Red Gate because it was
It was
at a red gate?
It was painted red, and it was the gate that stopped people from crossing because the railroad, that was the railroad line, the train. There was at least, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 trains a day going through there back in those days.
And then we've got the Downfall, and Dick Cunningham said he was going to show me where it came from the other side.
Well, it does, way down to, right where Sled Street comes through.
Sled Street, yeah.
Right, George Emerson, and it lives right on the corner of the old Downfall. It goes up through there and then winds all the way up through. Some of it's been more or less obliterated by the Fish and Game bunch
Is
down
it
there.
a public right-of-way, so that if I
Well,
went on
no,
it with Dick,
you
it would
wouldn't
be
be able to drive it.
trespassing?
You wouldn't be able to drive it
No,
with
he
a
was
car.
gonna walk it.
You have to walk it, oh yes, and not to stop you walking it if
But
you wanted to.
it's not private land?
No, well, it's Fish and Game, but
Oh.
that's
That's
nothing
not
private.
public.
You can walk right straight through. I've walked through many times, and you come up through, and there's the nutting plains of Beatrice Spring and all that area down there.
We haven't got that.
And
We'll show Jimmy where it runs through.
and then Fruit Street used to go way down, and it came out down where the Fish and Game house is. That's the
Yes.
old Fruit.
Yeah, that's
Fruit
what
Street
down the
went
Adams
right
Farm.
down through there and come out
We
down
don't have
there.
that.
Adams Farm.
We don't have nut and is it nothing or nut?
Nutting,
Nutting,
nut
okay.
trees. They called it the nutting plains down there.
trees?
You have to
think
go
so.
pick them walnuts and
Nutting plain.
hickory nuts, you know.
Yeah,
down
nutting
there.
plain.
And Beatrice Spring is in that area, because my wife's grandfather used to own that. He owned that area.
Where would that be, Jimmy?
That's down on the old downfall, down below. Well,
On this map?
when you go by where Henry Short lives, you go down there, and then there was a place there, the Dickey place. Then beyond that, there was another house down there.
So,
And that was Beatrice
And there was a
Beach.
camp later down there that the lumberman used to have. Some one of the lumber dealers in Newburyport had.
Beatrice.
Atkinson,
No, let me see.
Do you have a number, 40-something?
Offhand,
Got
I
47.
can't think of his name. It's Ash lumber, I think.
What do you want?
Just a
He had a camp down there. The kids called it the Owl's Nest. They used to, they smashed things all apart there.
yeah.
I
Jimmy,
know, yeah.
Here's the downfall on this map. Where
Yeah,
is that
that-
nutting plain?
That trace, that would be, let me see, when
Here's
you get, where
Byfield.
you get to, that would be down, down when you get down in, probably, down in this area, around in here, probably.
This is where Dutchy is, isn't it?
Yeah,
Down in here.
No, he's way
No,
over.
he's up ahead of it,
Wait,
right up in
he's up
here.
ahead of it.
I'm looking at it upside
Cut
down.
off, been cut off, you see,
I'm
yeah.
looking at it upside
Yeah,
down.
he's on the other side,
Yeah,
95.
I know
yeah.
that.
And that's where it come out
Yeah.
by George Emerson.
George Emerson, probably to
Okay,
be
so it's
partway
just
down,
Huh.
down in this particular
Okay,
area.
Put
yeah.
40,
Yeah,
what is
what
it,
is-
40-something?
46 cents. You said Beatrice Springs was at the same place?
Yeah, Beatrice Springs is down there. I think that was Beatrie, I think it was. I've never seen it spelled, but I believe they have to say
Okay. We wanna
Beatrice
locate
Springs,
these.
yeah.
Yes,
You know,
good.
There's lots of
there.
spring areas
All
down
right,
in
now,
that particular
after
part.
that, you've got Fraser's Rock.
Fraser's Rock is over. You go in by Bill Danner's. That driftway that goes from Bill Danner's, it goes way up, and there's a rock down there, Fraser's Rock. That is the boundary mark between Rowley, Georgetown, and Newbury.
Is it visible? Can
It's a
you,
big rock, yeah. It's a good sized rock.
Be nice to clean it out, wouldn't it?
Big as your living room.
it'd be nice to
Yeah.
clear it out
It's
sometime.
a big one. We have to, every 5 years, we mark it with the date, because that's when you cruise the town boundaries every 5 years. Matter of fact, we were over there just this spring.
This
marked it.
was the 5th year this
Yeah,
spring?
yeah.
Oh, I think it'd be
This
fun
was-
to have
Yeah.
people trail along with you.
You know, it was a funny thing. We cruised it with Rowley, and Aldine Gordon was certainly a game lady. She followed us all the way through. She's a select woman in Rowley, and it was in a wet, rainy day. Oh, it was miserable, and she followed us all the way through, stayed right with us. And I know that less hardy men would given up. But I admired her for being so maybe dedicated to do these sort of things. you
Then
know.
we've got Wheelwright's Corner.
Wheelwright's Corner is down at the junction of School and Elm.
Yeah.
Used to be a little place there where the kids, when electric cars run, there was a little bit of a station there where the kids waited The school kids waited in there to take the electric car.
We didn't know that, did we?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Right on that very corner, right by the gate there. Yeah.
Then we have the Poor Farm, and that was where the
The farm is where Triton School
right,
is, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And then the Witchstone Farm, we know where that
Up
is.
there,
Then Sawmill Woods.
Sawmill Woods are down the downfall at the end, when you get down below Henry Short's, and you start in, that's the Sawmill Woods. And back in those days, there was a sawmill on Cot Creek, and I fancy that most of the lumber that was lumbered off for that mill came from up in the woods, and they called that the Sawmill Woods.
I have down here where Martin Burns Fish and Game
Yeah.
Land is. That's
Yes, right in
okay.
there, they get up through there, yeah.
Here's the downfall again, Jim.
Yeah.
Would it be in?
Yeah, all
Close
this area here, down here would be the Sawmill Woods.
Okay,
Off to
that's
the right,
23.
right hand of 95, all the way down, probably all the way down
On the back of
to,
Cod Creek. Cod Creek goes right up
all
to
right straight through,
right
yeah.
straight through.
That's 23.
Well, matter of fact, Cot Creek springs up to Penny-Armory Spring.
Yes.
Penny-Armory Spring is the landfall where it starts out and runs down through.
Yeah, oh gosh, I should have brought a topo sheet down with me.
Yeah.
It would show that.
Oh,
Yeah, Rattlesnake Rock down there.
so
Then we had
don't have-
Indian Head Rock that was right on
Yep.
on my
And
property
this is
that
the
guy
begin-
buried.
the
And I told him-
beginning of
I
Cod
told him
Creek?
that Lima
And
buried,
you
and I
buried
told
out
him,
feet
and I told him
into
to take and cut that away, but I can't get him to do it. I must get after him again. And it's a perfect image of an Indian with his bonnet and everything
With
else.
Cedar Hill, we know Sawmill Woods. Garish Rock?
Right to that point.
Garish's Rocks is over in your new part that John
You know.
sold
Great
to the
Meadow.
Greenbelt.
Great Meadow.
That's right down there on the river there, Garish's Rocks.
And then Devil's Den.
Devil's Den is down across from the town dump.
Down.
Oyster Point.
Oyster Point is the junction of Parker River and Mill River.
Down below
That
the golf
comes from down back to the golf club.
Mm-hmm.
It comes, the Mill River enters Parker River right there, and that point is Oyster Point.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to see if we, when we run through
Yeah.
these, if we've missed any
Yeah.
up in this
Yeah.
end of town. You had an idea, John? You were just saying, you looked all alert as if you wanted to say something.
Well, I don't know whether Jimmy answered the question or not. I mean,
Oyster Point is what I
Oyster
just
Point, yeah,
mentioned.
yeah.
no.
Well, now another landmark is the so-called slip down just this side of Thurlow's Bridge. Back during the electric car days, there was a walk that went right out onto the river,
You can get it from
and the
there.
people in this neighborhood that had motorboats, they all had a launch, with a one-cylinder Mayanis engine in it.
Yeah.
And they would go down there and take their lunch baskets. They go on the electric car and get off the car. They could walk right down and get their boat that was moored there and go down all the way down to Plum Island.
From Island, yeah.
All the way down to Mom Smalls and the days.
Well, Jim, the next thing was
Same place.
Corn Island we have.
Corn Island, that's down Mill River.
Down below
That
the golf
comes from down back to the golf club.
Mm-hmm.
It comes, the Mill River enters Parker River right there, and that point is Oyster Point.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to see if we, when we run through
Yeah.
these, if we've missed any
Yeah.
up in this
Yeah.
end of town. You had an idea, John? You were just saying, you looked all alert as if you wanted to say something.
Well, I don't know whether Jimmy answered the question or not. I mean,
Oyster Point is what I
Oyster
just
Point, yeah,
mentioned.
yeah.
no.
Well, now another landmark is the so-called slip down just this side of Thurlow's Bridge. back during the electric car days, there was a walk that went right out onto the river.
You can get it from
And the
there.
people in this neighborhood that had motorboats, they all had a launch, you know, with a one-cylinder Mianis engine in it.
Yeah.
And they would go down there and take their lunch baskets. They go in the electric car and get off the car. They could walk right down and get their boat that was moored there and go down all the way down to Plum Island.
Plum Island, yeah.
All the way down to Mom Smalls and
That was a terrible.
the days.
Well, Jim, the next thing was
Great place.
Corn Island we have.
Corn Island, that's down back of, down back of Lawrence Brown's, down on the Salt River. You go way down across the turnpike and down, that's Corn Island. Down off the Parker River and goes up into Rowley. That's where the town line is between Rowley and Newbury on Mud Creek.
And then Longfellow Hill. And we seem to move from.
Yeah.
Well, we began to start talking about things.
Yeah, I know. We tried to.
John lives right on top of it.
Yeah, right. Right. And
Then we've got Skunk Hill.
we moved
Skunk
to
Hill.
Orchard Street.
Skunk Hill is right. That hill down here where your friend lives
Well, it's right across from right across from Morris from Morris's.
John Morris' house. Yeah, that rise there. They call that Skunk Hill.
Yeah.
Between John's house and Manny Palmer's.
Yeah.
That's a little dippy thing.
That rise, you come up around the curve.
And you're curving at the same time, yeah.
There's a
I know
landmark.
exactly.
All the old timers knew where Skunk Hill was.
Yeah, and then we talked about Joe Martin's bedroom, you know, and then down.
That's between Maple Street and down at the junction of
Did we talk about that?
Yeah, but I don't think we added it.
that's
right.
between the junction of Middle Road and Orchard Street and Maple Street.
Martin?
Yeah, right there on the corner of Maple
Where
Street.
all the
That's
houses are built.
Where that house is in back.
Joe Martin's
Before you get
bedroom?
Yeah, Joe. I guess Joe used to go down and patronize some of the Adamses' cider mills down there, and I guess he used to just step over the wall and go to sleep.
Just about make it a nice
Just
bed of pine.
make it there,
Nice bed of pine needles, you know, great big tremendous bed of pine needles in there.
That's right, it's all pine and.
Yeah, the landmark back,
Yeah.
when I was a youngster, and many years probably before that.
Old Lowe Woodman. I went down one Sunday morning down to Adams's and come back with a jug, and he came by the church and he heard them preaching and singing and one thing or another, you know. So he took it, he smashed it. No, he put the jug on the steps, I think, and he went in, and the minute that the minister saw him, he changed the sermon all around to the prodigal son. And then when he came out, he smashed that jug up on the steps, and he wasn't going to drink no more. A month later.
He's like Sam Clemens. He says no problem at all.